The following program is a Town of Colonie television production of the William K. Sanford Town Library.
So welcome everyone to the Social Media Sampler. I'm Rebecca Jarvis-Gertler. I'm a librarian here, and I'm very into social media and enjoy it. And I teach this class because a lot of you have come to my classes and said, well, you know, I'm kind of on the Facebook, but I don't really know what this Instagram thing is, or what's Pinterest, what's the Snapchat thing my grandchild is telling me about. So this class is going to get you completely up to date on the lingo of social media and also talk about some of the tools that you might want to use and some of the apps that you might want to try using and why you would use them. So if any of you ever saw this commercial, that's not how any of this works. If you feel like that, this class is for you. So we're going to start by talking about some basic vocabulary, some basic concepts in social media. So some key basic things is the profile. So the idea of the profile is it's a place where information is collected about a specific person. So either you will put information about yourself in your profile, or you can view basic information, biographical information, photos, things like that, about other people in their profiles. And then profile images are the square pictures that usually come along with the profiles. So if you've ever been in your iPhone, if you have an iPhone, and you've noticed that the camera has a square shooting mode, that's what it's for. The square mode is for shooting profile pictures, because usually they're square. So that's the hint there. On some social media websites, you may have a username or a handle. So like on Twitter, for example, you might be known by something like we're at Colonie Library so it's Colonie Library with that sign in front of it on Twitter. So you will develop your own usernames for different sites. On some websites like Facebook, for example, you just go by your name. So it depends. On a lot of these websites, when you set up your profile, in addition to having your profile image, you'll also pick a banner image for the top part of the screen. And this is just some picture that you like, that you think represents you. When you are interacting with social media, when you are putting content out there saying, hey, check out my lunch, or my dog, here's awesome pictures of my dog, or whatever. Anytime you're generating content and putting that up, that's called a post. And anytime other people are doing the same, that's called a post as well. And then the place where you see all of other people's posts as opposed to yours is called your feed. And each of these tools has a feed where you can continuously see stuff that other people are posting that you've connected with. So those are the basic parts. Now, there's a lot of ways to express yourself on social media. You may have heard of the term emoji or emoticons. And we have some examples here, these yellow faces here. So they're all those little smiley faces and little hearts and cakes and dogs and all kinds of weird little images that accompany the text. Those are called emoji. And some of them are built into your cell phone. If you have a cell phone or tablet, there may be a keyboard option on there with a little smiley face. If you tap it, you'll get all these emoji. And these are here because, sometimes when you're reading just plain text on the internet, you don't know what the body language or inflection would be. So sometimes things can come off really harsh and the person was actually being sarcastic. Or someone's really sad, but it doesn't come off that way. So emoji is used to put some emotional sort of symbols into the text so that people have some idea of what you're trying to convey in addition to just the text. In addition to emoji, a lot of people take selfies, right? So what's a selfie? That's where you use the front-facing camera on your phone. Always hold it above your head, right? Hold it from above and you snap your picture. So that's what everybody does. Those are selfies. A selfie is just a picture of yourself that you take and then post on social media. Now, one way people communicate with social media is through posts and things like that are sort of more public, depending on your privacy settings. But if you want to have a one-on-one conversation with just, privately among your friends or whatever, Chat is the way that you do that. And that's depending on the site or app. That's either called chat or it's called direct messaging or private message. So if you're on Facebook and someone says, oh, private message me your address, don't put it in the comments, contact them through the chat so that it's private. And then comments. Comments are when you respond to someone's post or someone responds to your post and then you respond back. Those are the comments that line up underneath the post. And they also appear all over the internet, right? Any news story will have them. Blog posts usually have them. And they can get very heated. Yeah, they can get nasty sometimes because people are anonymous, right? So, but sometimes they're really fun. It's a good way to, everybody can comment on your latest picture or whatever, which is good. And then we have memes. Has anybody heard of memes? Just heard the term even. So a meme, I have some examples, are these pictures that you see all over the internet that have this white text on them, usually some kind of comment on the picture. So this is a very popular meme. This is the grumpy cat. So you may have even seen grumpy cat on the news because this is so popular. So a meme basically is a pop culture image or some random picture, like some of them are yearbook, like really awkward yearbook photos, or stock photos, for example. And people will take those photos and put these captions on them in an attempt to convey something. Usually it's a humorous thing. So, if you're having a rough day and you're feeling kind of grumpy, you could post a grumpy cat meme, and anybody who knows what that meme means will get it. Basically, it's like a little language all its own. So on your sheet on the back, there's a list of links at the end. One of them is called Know Your Meme, and that's sort of a dictionary for memes. So if you see your kids or grandkids posting memes and you have no idea what is this about, I do this all the time. My brother posts memes all the time. I don't know what the reference is, so I don't get the joke or whatever. I'll go to knowyourmeme.com, and then I can find out what the heck this meme is about. So there's Grumpy Cat. I was 100% unimpressed with my presentation. There's Skeptical Baby is one of my favorite ones. So always the Skeptical Baby is going to be this stock photo of this baby with some text on it. So, usually this one is used when someone's like, really? about something. Now, here's the thing with memes. Sometimes they get really weird. Because this is an internet culture thing and it comes from all these little subcultures and communities online, some of them have really weird senses of humor. So this is an example of what's called a face swap. So you may have seen these weird images on the internet where there'll be a face of a person swapped with their dog, or two different politicians will be swapped, or you'll have like a husband and wife celebrity couple and their faces will be swapped. It is just a weird, funny Photoshop thing that people do. And then there's memes upon memes. People riff on this idea all the time. So this one I just thought was really funny. But some of them are really, really creepy. I mean, this one's kind of creepy too. And then, in reaction to that one is the face palm. There's a couple of Captain Picard ones from Star Trek. And one of them is the face palm, him saying, oh, God. So you'll see those sometimes. So, in addition to those concepts, there's a few other ways that you can interact with social media that are very common across many of the different platforms. So there's the idea of the hashtag, which looks like the pound sign, basically. And so what you'll see some content. So somebody will post a photo or they'll post some text. And then they'll follow that photo or text with the pound sign and then a word, and then the pound sign and a word. And what this is it's keywords. It's a way to attach keywords to a post. So, for example, here at the library, every Thursday on our social media page, we do a TBT, which is a Throwback Thursday. And this is a hashtag that's really popular all over the internet. And if you know what pound sign TBT stands for, then suddenly these posts make a little more sense. And usually what it is we're looking at old photographs, or we find some old button or something having to do with the past of the library, and we post about it. And so people all over the internet on Thursday will just dig up something nostalgic and post, and then put hashtag TBT after it. And that's what it's about. So, another example would be hashtag social media sampler for this class if I was posting about this class online. Or if you're posting vacation photos, you could do hashtag Cape Cod 2016, and all of the photos that you post, put that hashtag on there. And it's a way to sort of categorize things right in the post. And then mentions are kind of similar, and this is most popular on Twitter, and we'll talk about the individual tools in a little bit. On Twitter, if you want to refer to someone else in a post, or you're going to reply to someone else's post, you will say @ and then that person's handle or username, and then say what you're going to say. And it's a way of basically creating a link from your post to them. So it keeps everything, the internet is built around links and built around everything being connected. So this is a way to connect to other people that you're talking about or to. So you can use hashtags and mentions to make things more interactive with your posts. You can upload and download when you're on the web and when you're using social media. So what's the difference between those two? Well, upload is putting something onto the web. So you're uploading it onto the web. So that's when you're posting photos, for example. You're going to hit the photo button in whatever app it is, add photo, and then it's going to ask you, okay, let's browse your computer or your phone and look for the photo that you want to put up. And then it will take a second and it will upload onto the internet and be stored in that social media on their server. So to download is when you're looking at other people's photos and content and you say, oh, I want a copy of that photo. I want to print that out and put it on my fridge or whatever. That's a download when you save a copy of something from the internet. And then one other little tool, this is fairly new. This is called live streaming. This is where basically if you have a cell phone and you use a live streaming app or an app that has live streaming and you start live streaming, people that are your friends on that social media platform will see exactly what your cell phone video is taking a video of. So this is really neat for things like graduations, for example. If you have family that are out of town and wish they could attend a wedding or a graduation, something like that, you can live stream the event by just holding up your cell phone while it's going on, and then people can tune in that are friends with you. So live streaming it's new. It's a little glitchy sometimes, but it's kind of a neat thing. So, I did this when my sister graduated. I live streamed the whole thing for family that was out in California. They couldn't be there for it, but they wanted to see it. So, that's the. In all of this, you may feel like there's an avalanche of information coming at you, right? And there are some ways that social media companies have tried to manage this avalanche and talk about it, basically. There's so much information. So one, on the news especially, one term you may have heard is the word trending. Well, what does that mean exactly? What this means is that tons and tons of people on social media are talking about a specific topic. And how do they know that everyone's talking about that topic? Because they're all using the same hashtags to tag their posts. For example, the debates were trending, of course, because a lot of millions of people were watching them, and people were responding to those debates online. And so when they responded, a lot of them probably tagged their post, debate night 3 or something like that. And so the news organizations can follow what's trending, and so can you. If you go on Twitter, for example, or Facebook, you can go to the sections that talk about, that have the trending topics, and it will show you the things that people are talking about the most, right this second. So that's what the trending topics are all about. And that's a way you can also, if you click on one of the tags or you click on a trending topic, you'll just see content as it's being generated on that specific topic. So that's one way to weed out some of the other stuff and just focus on what you're interested in. However, if it's trending, there's like a bajillion, bunch of things popping up. Everybody who comments on it, the next one, the next one, the next one. So that can get overwhelming too. You may also have heard the term going viral. So what does that mean? That means that someone posted a video or a photo or a meme or a story or an anecdote, something, and then it was usually unexpectedly popular. So things like funny cat videos will go viral. Someone will post a funny cat video for their friends, and then their friends will share it. And then their friends' friends will share it, and on and on and on and on. And it will go all over the internet until, half the world has seen this cat playing a piano or whatever. All kinds of things go viral. News stories, stories people tell, photos, all kinds of stuff. Videos especially go viral, though. So that's what that means. And usually it's unintended. People are always trying to make their content go viral because it's, useful for promotion or whatever. But usually the stuff that goes viral, it's just by accident. It just was compelling or funny and people shared it. Clickbait, if you've heard of this term. So what clickbait is where in your social media feed, you see stuff that people have shared and you see what news organizations you followed, stuff that they've shared. When the title of the article or the site or the picture is intentionally like it makes your curiosity go up, or it's intentionally makes people mad, just the title. Or basically it's anything where the title or the picture that's used to represent that article is there to drive you to click on it. And then you get to the content and it may not really be about that, or it may be much less contentious than the headline would lead you to believe. That's clickbait. And there's a lot of it. And it is a part of why people do feel overwhelmed sometimes on social media. So everything is so heightened a lot of the time. In an attempt to get your attention and get you to click on things which generates ad revenue and stuff like that, they will just heighten everything and make everything seem really scary and important, or post really weird things. You'll see these weird, like kind of gross pictures sometimes for different articles, and it's all there to just get you curious or morbidly curious, so you'll click on the link.
So the purpose for that is to generate revenue.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so, a lot of times I'll see articles that sound really interesting, and then I'll click on them and they're really not that great, or they're really short or something. And the idea is that they got me with some clickbait. They suckered me in. So yeah, and if you find, that you're getting hit with a lot of this stuff, then it might be a reason to actually unfollow, to basically let go of a specific news organization that you're following, or maybe even a friend that you're following who just posts all this clickbait type stuff, because they also have morbid curiosity. Yeah, so it's a way to reduce the information overload if you kind of can ignore clickbait. It's very hard to do because it's designed to make you want to click on it, or reduce it in your feed by getting rid of people that keep posting it. And then information overload is just the feeling that there's way too much, right? We're all bombarded with so much information. So there are scientists actually studying this, so how to deal with this. So if it's a topic of interest, search for information on information overload. People do things like take breaks, purposefully. On Saturdays, I'm not going to go on social media, or I'm not going to check my email, or whatever. There's different ways that people are trying to reduce information overload. And, like librarians, we're trying to always provide you guys with the best authoritative information, for example, so that you don't get information overload with too much information. This topic gets its own slide because it's a really stressful one. One thing when you start using social media you might run into are people who comment in very inflammatory, mean, nasty, bullying ways. So if you've ever read the comment section of any news article, you've probably bumped into these people. These people are known as internet trolls. And what they do is, the verb is trolling. So they're not there because they actually believe what they're typing necessarily. They're there because they want to get a rise out of you and upset you. And they find it amusing. It's like just their entertainment is upsetting other people, which is horrible. But keep that in mind when you are interacting with people on social media, especially people that you do not know. If it starts to get really heated and contentious and nasty, and insults are starting to be hurled around, you just can disengage from that. And sometimes you'll see someone down in the, in the comments after a heated debate has been going on, someone will say, "Don't feed the trolls." And that's what they're talking about. They're saying, this person is trolling you. You should stop communicating with them because they're not here to really debate with you. They're here to make you upset. So just keep that in mind. This is a way to become a little less stressed if you're aware that there are people that are doing this. And, you know, it's mostly people you don't know. So who cares what their opinion is? But it's really hard not to react sometimes. They say really nasty things. So don't feed the trolls. So some of you may have gotten on social media and then gotten a little bit stuck because there's so many acronyms and abbreviations and you have no idea what they mean. And, you know, it becomes like a wall of text and you have no idea what that text even means because there's so many abbreviations in it. So here are some of the most common ones that I've seen, and there's tons more. In the resources list, I have a place where you can look up all the different abbreviations so that if you see one, you can look up what it is. So there's the probably most common one, which is LOL, laugh out loud. There's ROFL, which is rolling on the floor laughing, and then the always popular LMAO, which is laughing my bleep off. And then you can combine rolling on the floor laughing with that one to make ROFL, LMAO, you know, it's really a lot. Rolling on the floor laughing my bleep off. BRB, which in my head I always hear as burb when I read it, but it stands for be right back. BTW is by the way. GTG is got to go. FWIW for what it's worth. A lot of times people preface their opinions with that one. This one I didn't know for the longest time, and I just skated on by it because I didn't look it up, but now I know what it means. If you see TLDR with a semicolon or not, it means too long, didn't read. So someone will say, oh, I have an opinion on this article, but it was too long, I didn't read it. So they'll preface their comment by saying TLDR, but I think blah, 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 blah. And in that case, you can say, well, you didn't read the article, so your opinion is invalid. Yeah, or you can post that too, you know, if you didn't get a chance to read the whole thing, just to tell people, hey, I didn't read the whole thing. It's also now being used as like a heading on articles. I've seen it a few places. You'll see basically the article, the headline of the article, and then it'll say TLDR, and it'll have what is essentially an abstract. It has a little description of what the article is saying in like 3 or 4 sentences, and then the rest of the article will go underneath it. So it's now being used as a heading too. TTYL is talk to you later. IMO or IMHO in my opinion, or in my humble opinion, depending on how you're feeling at the time. JK means just kidding. This is a good one to put in if you're being sarcastic. Or you can say sarcasm and then put in what you're going to say and sarcasm at the end, because it can be very confusing sometimes. When sarcasm gets misinterpreted, that can be very disastrous. So JK is a good one to know. IRL, in real life. So this is where someone's saying, I'm friends with this person in real life, meaning not just on social media. NSFW means not safe for work, which means that there's something graphic, or you wouldn't want to open this while you're at work. So sometimes that can mean violence graphic, or it can mean other kinds of graphic. So anything risque can get that label. So it's nice when people put that on things that they post. So okay, I would open this in the privacy of my home. OMG is oh my God. And SMH is shaking my head. Usually that's after someone sees something that they're just, it's a facepalm moment. That's a shaking my head. And there are so many more of these. The more you use social media and the more you start using some of these, the less opaque the internet will seem. Suddenly you'll be able to understand this language that's been going on around you. And every time I learn a new one of these, it opens me up too, because I see them all the time, and just like everybody else, I don't always absorb them or think to look them up. So let's talk about some popular social networks that you might want to check out and why you would check them out, or at least now you'll know what they're for. So, of course, there's trusty Facebook. This is the world's most popular social network at this point. For this reason, the kids don't like it as much as they used to. So a lot of younger people are getting away from Facebook because, oh, my grandmother's on there, you know. But yes, but it is still the most popular social media tool. It allows for the sharing of text, images, links, and videos. They have recently added a live streaming component. So if you want to, if you have a Facebook account and you want to try live streaming, this is a way to do it. And what it's used for primarily is for socializing, to connect with friends and family. You know, a lot of us have far-flung relatives and friends. So you can keep people up to date on what's going on with you and vice versa. Also, Facebook is one of the top sources of news for people these days. So you can follow, you know, news organizations, meaning that you're wanting their content in your feed. So you could follow the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal or CNN or Fox News or whatever, you know, news organizations you're interested in. And then you'll see news stories come up in your feed. But also your friends are seeing news also in their feed usually, and then they share those articles. So even if you don't follow news on Facebook, you still may wind up seeing news on Facebook because your friends are seeing it and sharing it. The thing to know about this is that Facebook is really sensitive to what you tell it you like. So if you say you like this post but you don't like this one, it will eventually figure out what your politics are, what you prefer, basically, and it'll start to weed out stuff that it thinks you won't like. So you can get into like an echo chamber on Facebook and other social media sites thinking everyone agrees with my opinion, but in reality, no, they do not. So that's something to keep in mind. You can also get information on businesses, organizations, hobbies, interests that you have. So there's tons of groups on Facebook where you can interact with other people that have the same hobbies as you. Businesses have web pages or Facebook pages. Organizations like the library, we have a Facebook page where we post information about what's going on here. So you can get lots and lots of information on Facebook on all different topics. And the last thing that Facebook does really well is you can chat privately with one or more people using their Messenger feature. And they also have a separate Messenger app in addition for your smartphone too. And that lets you chat privately with people without it being posted publicly. So since Facebook is so popular, and it doesn't really matter what kind of device you have an iPad or a Windows PC or an Android phone, because Facebook works on all those places, the Facebook chat is pretty popular because no matter what device, almost everybody has it. So, and they have kind of fun things in there, like you can be chatting and then there's sticker packs that are in there. So just like memes can add, you know, some humor, you can use stickers and different smiley faces and things in that chat to add to your conversation. Let's talk about Instagram. So Instagram is very popular. I think it's the second most popular after Facebook. It's a photo sharing app that enables users to take photos and videos, apply filters which change the look of the picture, the colors and things like that, and add stickers, things of those nature, and then share them with other people. So, you know, this is really, it's sort of like Facebook, except it's focused exclusively on video and photos. It's very visual. So people who like visuals more than they like text might enjoy Instagram more just because it's focused more on that. And it's commonly used to view and share images and video with friends and family or a wider audience. Sometimes people build followings, you know, if they're a really good photographer or they're into fashion or crafts or whatever, and they take pictures of those things or cooking. They can build up a following of people that are interested in seeing the content that they make. You can also get information on businesses, organizations, and hobbies and interests on here too, because businesses and groups and stuff will post stuff on Instagram too. And again, it's more visual, so it's more of a quick taste sometimes than some other social media sites where it's more text-based and you get more information. So this can be a nice, fun one, basically. And if you like taking pictures, this is a good one to join because it's really simple and easy to use. And also the filters are kind of fun to play with. So, you take a picture and then you go through a filter gallery and it completely changes how the picture looks, changes the mood of the picture. It's kind of like photoshopping without having to know how to Photoshop. So this is a fun one. So there's Twitter, which is known as a microblogging site. Twitter allows users to send and read 140 character or less messages, and they're called tweets. So you've probably heard people talking about tweets. That's what they are. They're just little short messages that people post. And 140 characters, I mean, that's really short. It's like 2 sentences. So it can be tough to use Twitter. And for that reason, I'm actually not a big fan of Twitter. I am verbose. I like to talk. So everything I post is long, and I can't squeeze it down into 140 characters. But I am on Twitter, because you can post, or you could just join Twitter so that you can see what other people post. Because what Twitter's great for is current news and events. Because it is that stream of consciousness, short little blips, it's designed for that. Information is constantly flowing through Twitter. So it's a good place to go. If, I went on Twitter and sort of watched the trending topics while I was watching the debates, because I could get perspective from other people really quickly that way. If you're watching a sporting event, or you're watching, any kind of event, or even a TV show, sometimes people are live tweeting during TV shows, which means that they're sort of narrating their experience of the said event or whatever, or their perspective or opinion on it. That can be interesting, depending on what it is and who the person is. If it's someone that you respect who's commenting on some event that you're also participating in, that can add to the experience. So yeah, Twitter can be good for getting information about news and finding new media. It's fun to share information about events and happenings that you're participating in. So if you go to a conference or something like that, you could live tweet, which just means, stream of consciousness reaction to things that you're experiencing. This is where a lot of celebrities and public figures make their social media homes. They might have a Facebook page or they might have an Instagram, but a lot of them are really active on Twitter. So if, you really enjoy a certain celebrity or musician or band or whatever, you can follow them on Twitter, and they'll be constantly posting new things that you might find interesting.
Do you have an app for that?
Twitter? Nope, that one you can just get on their website. And you don't even have to sign in order to see what's trending. So you don't even have to make an account if you don't want to. You can just get on.
Like Twitter?
Yep, twitter.com. Yep, and it'll take you there. Yeah. Also, just like everything else, organizations and businesses have Twitter accounts. So this is also good for like professional development, for example, or hobbies, things where you have an interest in something and there's a group of people who are interested in that too. They might post articles and things on Twitter just real quick here and there that you would find interesting. And then it's just a good spot to see, okay, what is going on in the world? What's trending on the internet, basically. If you hop on there, you're going to find out, because this is where everybody goes to chatter about things. So, again, pros and cons. Twitter is information overload for sure, because it's just whoosh, stream of consciousness, constant flow going by. And sometimes it's hard to keep up with it all, but it also can be very interesting too. So then there's LinkedIn. LinkedIn is basically the Facebook of business contacts. It allows users to keep track of their professional interests and networking. So basically, if you do not want to have your colleagues be your friends on Facebook, you could, become friends with them on LinkedIn instead. And it sort of keeps your personal life and your business life separate. Other things that are on LinkedIn are like professional groups, committees, organizations, things like that, where, yeah, I serve on a committee with her, but I don't really want her on my personal stuff, but I would love to communicate with her online. You can friend people on LinkedIn instead of Facebook. LinkedIn is really about business. It's about less personal relationships, more formal relationships. So, if you go someplace and you're collecting business cards, you can go ahead and if you have a LinkedIn account, you could look up the people that you connected with, that you have their business card, and add them to your network. You know, and then you sort of stay in touch with them, you remember them, but you're not connecting with them on a personal level, so you don't have to be so careful about what you post and things like that. So here's one that you may have heard about and you have no idea what it is. I didn't know what it was. What it was. My younger siblings were all using this, and I finally got with it and started using it too, but it's really not my thing. Snapchat. So Snapchat is a popular messaging app, especially with younger users. It's kind of got a unique twist. So people use it to chat with each other privately, to send pictures and videos and stuff like that. But what makes Snapchat different, and they call them snaps when they send stuff, is that the content can be set to self-destruct after 10 seconds or less. So what my siblings use this for is to take ridiculous pictures of faces that they make, send them to each other, and they only last for 3 seconds, so then the evidence is destroyed of that ridiculous face they were making. You know, that's the kind of stuff that people are doing with Snapchat. So this is really like a social communication, goofing around, playful app that a lot of young people are using in lieu of other social networks. Now, they are shifting away. It used to be totally ephemeral like that, like everything you sent was going to disappear in 10 seconds or less. As soon as the person opened it, they would view it, and poof, it'd be gone. However, of course, some people don't like that. They want things to stick around. So now they have something called Stories, where you can make sort of a little slideshow kind of content and doodles that you've made and stickers that you found and all kinds of stuff. And it'll last for 24 hours, and all your friends can view it. So it's more public, whereas in the beginning, Snapchat was just personal communication back and forth. And just like other things, like Instagram, for example, and also Facebook has them too, it has filters. So they have a pretty interesting bunch of filters. Like you'll take a selfie and then it will put like dog ears on you, or makeup on your face, or change your hairdo, or it does all kinds of funny, weird things. Or it'll distort your face. So if you've ever been online and you've seen these really weird pictures of people with like giant bug eyes, or like, they got a dog nose or whatever, it's these filters that they're using, and Snapchat is one of the more popular ones because they've got a bunch of really funky, weird ones in there. And you can doodle, so you can take a picture and then you can doodle on it too. That's another reason why the kids like it too. So this is like a very creative, fun, silly tool, basically. And it's really popular with like the 18 and younger crowd, So if you hear someone in your family talking about snappies, oh, send me a snap, or Snapchat, this is what they're talking about. This one, I don't think I would ever find a use for it. I'm on it so that I can get my siblings goofy stuff, but that's it. Yeah. So Snapchat is that's what it's all about. It has its pros and cons. It can be really fun, but it's also got its downsides too. So Pinterest. Now this is one that if you're not on it, you probably, the age group and interests that you guys have, you probably would enjoy this, really. So this is a tool that you might want to check out. So Pinterest is a visual bookmarking tool. So what does that mean? It means that when you're surfing the internet and you come across articles about crafts or recipes or travel things that you want to, places you want to visit, just anything that's got some pictures involved with it and some text or whatever, you can install an add-on on your browser, and when you click on the picture, a little P pops up for Pinterest, and when you click on it, it collects that information into a board on Pinterest. So, and then you can have as many boards as you want. So you could have a crafting board, you could have a scrapbooking board, you could have a baby outfits for your grandchild board, you could have a haircuts board, whatever. Anything that you might be collecting information about, recipes, all that. You can collect stuff in here. And then you can share those collections with other people. So I know a lot of people who enjoy Pinterest a great deal. It can be a major time suck because it's so awesome, There's just endless amounts of these collections of cool things, beautiful things, places you want to visit, and pictures you want to look at, and styles you want to try. It is a really interesting place to visit. And it's nice if you do any kind of crafts or collecting of anything, you can collect information about it in one place that you can access from any device or computer and then easily share. So this is a really, really neat tool. It's good for inspiration too. So I'm a painter, so I have a board where I just collect images that inspire me. And then if I'm feeling a little uninspired, I can hop on Pinterest and I can look at all the beautiful pictures that I've collected and get some ideas. So there's tons of different ways to use this. It's one that I suggest you might want to look into because it's really fun. So then we have video chat. So there's actually a couple of different good video chat apps. So I've included them all on the slide because they all do the same thing. So if someone has talked to you about using Google Hangouts, Facetime, which is for iOS, so Apple devices, or Skype. And sometimes people use Skype like people use the word Kleenex. They use it, oh, I'm going to Skype you. What they really mean is I'm going to video chat you. So these are all examples of video chat services. Now, like Facebook's Messenger also allows video chat, and so do some of the other social media tools. They're all on this bandwagon now. But these are 3 standalone apps that just do this. So what is video chat? It allows users to take and share live video of themselves while speaking with someone else who does the same thing. So you will see the person that you're speaking to on your screen, and they will see you on their screen. So it's like making a phone call, but with video. And this can be really helpful if, like me, you have family all over the country or all over the world. You can communicate with people, and it's more personable because you can see their body language and their facial expressions. And I was just reading a cool study because I have a baby, and they tell you, oh, don't expose your children to screens before age 2 or whatever. But the big exception that they just found is that this is interactive enough that even little babies can sort of recognize when they're seeing grandma on screen and hearing grandma's voice, like they recognize that they're talking to a person. So it's really interactive. It's a nice way to interact with family members that are far away, and it's more personable than talking on the phone or sending an email or doing everything through text. Now, these apps usually also include a text chat component. So if everybody uses Hangouts, Google Hangouts, for example, you could have a group chat on there too, where you could just chat them as well. So it's just another option for chatting. And also sometimes, like on Google Hangouts, my whole family will get on, so there'll be 6 people in there all talking. So sometimes we actually use the chat feature while we're all on together to try to make sense of the mayhem too. So these have some other tools. And Hangouts has filters too to make your face look weird and stuff. Skype is a little more relaxed. It doesn't have the filters or anything. Skype does cool things like let you call international numbers for inexpensive. It's more like using a phone if you want it to be. And then Facetime is basically exactly the same as Skype, except it's only available for people who have iPhones and iPads and stuff. So if your whole family is in the Macosphere, then you can use Facetime. Otherwise, it's easier to just use Skype or Google Hangouts. And like everything else, these are just apps that you install or websites that you visit, and then you can start the service up and use it. And yeah, so its main purpose is to talk with people that you know and care about. Or make phone calls if you don't have your cell phone handy or something like that. You can make phone calls with most of these. Now, there's also a whole bunch of video sharing services, the most popular being YouTube. You've probably heard of YouTube. Some other examples are Vivo, Vimeo, and Vine. They all use that V, except YouTube. So video sharing sites allow users to share and view videos. So you can watch funny cat videos, of course. That's the main use, right? Of course, it's not really the main use because there's a huge range of topics on these sites. So you can listen to music on these sites. A lot of them will have music videos or live music that people have posted. You can access tutorials and how-to on pretty much any topic. You want to learn how to do something? Go on YouTube and search, how do I do a chain stitch in crochet? And ta-da, there's going to be, dozens of tutorials on how to do that. Or, how do I delete files on a Mac? Just search that in YouTube and there will be videos. So this is really helpful as an educational tool, actually. This is where I learn a lot of stuff that I wind up teaching in my classes. I go on YouTube and learn how to do it, and then I teach. There are, of course, entertainment options on these sites. A lot of people produce fun content for you to watch. And you can also get news and media on these sources. So, for example, YouTube put on the debates. So if you didn't have an antenna or you didn't have cable, you could go on YouTube to watch the debates. So yeah, basically the difference between YouTube, Vivo, and Vimeo, there's not that much of a difference. They all have a slightly different focus, but as far as topical concerns are there. But like I think Vivo is very focused on music, for example. And then there's this one last one called Periscope, which you may not have heard about. This one's kind of newish, and it's not that well known yet. But Periscope is a standalone live streaming platform. So users can use this app to record and share live video with other people. Basically, you're broadcasting whatever you're videotaping. So Facebook liked this idea and added it as a feature to Facebook, but Periscope was the original and sort of does it. It's the only thing that Periscope does. So you can use it to broadcast family events and things like that out to people that want to kind of participate but can't be there. And this works better than something like Google Hangouts or Skype for this purpose because it's designed for that, to broadcast stuff and to invite multiple people to view that broadcast. But you can also just hop onto the Periscope app and view content from all over the world. So if you follow a musician or a speaker or whatever, a politician, whatever, people that you're interested in hearing from, and they're on Periscope, then you'll get a little notification that'll say, oh, this musician is live. And that means that that musician is actually, maybe playing live content or talking about their latest album or whatever. They're live and they're talking about that thing. So, so this can be a fun one to add. It's not as popular as some of the others, so you may not find every public figure you're interested in on there. But the ones that are making content for it, it can be pretty interesting. The other thing Periscope does is while you're watching that content, you can respond to it. So you can hit a little heart, and then the heart flies across the screen. So you can sort of give feedback to people as they're watching, or as they're producing the content about what you liked about what they just did. So it's kind of fun. So now we're just going to talk about some links that I thought you might find interesting after this class to follow up on some of the things we were talking about. So if you're feeling adventurous, and I didn't include this link, but if you're feeling adventurous and you want to learn how to use some of these things that I talked about, go on YouTube and do some searching. That's one good way to get started. You could type in getting started with Twitter into YouTube and get some videos on that. So some other useful links we have a directory of internet abbreviations and acronyms at netlingo.com/acronyms.php. So that is huge. It has, if you see any abbreviation on the internet that you don't know what it means, you can come in here and search for it and find out what it means. If you'd like to find an emoji to express some particular thing you're trying to express, go to emojipedia.org. They have a ton. This is one of my favorite places on the whole internet, knowyourmeme.com. So if you see a meme and you don't get it, you're like, why is that funny? I don't even understand this meme. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. You can go on Know Your Meme, and they will have a page about it, and you can learn where it came from and why it's funny. And this is how I wound up getting into memes and actually being able to understand them. And now I enjoy them a lot because I know the sort of in-jokes that are inspiring a lot of them. So this is a fun place to visit. Now, know that memes can be risque, not safe for work, for sure. So, be aware of that. Sometimes you'll find stuff on there and go, ooh, I did not need to see that. If you want to if you get the hang of memes and you want to take, give it a try yourself making them, you can go to memegenerator.net, and then they have a whole catalog of the popular pictures that are in the background, and then you can put your own captions on them. So again, this is all user-generated content. I just went on there earlier and went, woo, I'm not going to put that up on the screen because there are some that are really politically charged or have bad words or whatever. But that can be really fun. Once you get the hang of memes, you can make your own. And you can even make some that will make your grandkids groan. They'll say, oh, you didn't do it right, but that's part of the fun. And then a copy of this whole presentation, if you would like it, is available at this link that I've included, tiny.cc/social media need sampler. But everything, as you saw, that I talked about is on this sheet. So you may not need the presentation.